Hey guys, welcome back to Barrovain Made. Today, we are going to do something that we've already done, but better and with a purpose. So, my granddad, I'll throw some models up here. He's been really getting into his model making, loads of tiny thousands, little screws and stuff, and he spends hours on end putting everything together. But he doesn't have a toolbox for all of his little tools. He currently just keeps them in a plastic tray or whatever. So I put my father on a covert mission to go and measure up all the tools. As you can see by the grainy footage, I didn't get much information. So I'm going to work to the best of my ability to make him a nice little toolbox. So from what I can tell from the grainy footage he sent me, we need a box that's 10 inches long, 6 inches wide, possibly about 5 inches deep. The deepness doesn't really matter too much, and I guess depending on how much we can get out of all of this thin stock that I have left will determine how big the box is. But these are all really small tools, so no matter how small we make the box, everything should fit. So we're going to try and make this toolbox. Hopefully he'll be really happy with it. So let's get into it. So I don't know why today, but for some reason my brain isn't operating at full capacity. So I'm struggling to figure out the order of operations. So we're just going to start hacking at bits of wood and hopefully we end up with all the pieces we need. I'm pretty sure this will go okay. So we're going to concentrate first on the outer rim, because instead of trying to work out, okay, we need to take this material off of this and then we do all that to figure out this, we can just build the perimeter and then, well, not build the perimeter, we can cut out everything for the perimeter and measure the inside and stuff like that. Then we can find out the final pieces we need to cut and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is, instead of cutting out 5 inches, because I realized this bit of wood is just under 5 inches, we're going to do 4.5 inches instead. Maybe even 4 inches, because we do have a slight crack here. So let's start cutting away. Let's see how... Yeah, if we do 4 inches, we can get rid of this crack. So we'll do 4 inches. 4 inches deep of a box is deep enough for the small tools that he has. So let's get into it. Let's start hacking at this bit of wood and let's get it done. Also, real quickly, you'll notice that wasn't burning up like my saw has been doing lately. Didn't realise that these screws here are to align your blade, and my blade was out of alignment with the fence, so there was nothing wrong with the fence. The fence all lines up with all the T-slots and everything in it. It was my blade, so managed to unscrew these, wiggle my blade into straightness. So I mean, no one commented on how to help me, but I managed to figure it out. So that's what the problem was. If your table saw is burning up and doing all that stuff too, it's your blade alignment. Let's keep going. So, all the jigs I made didn't really work because I don't have a dado stack and I don't have a router table, or at least I can't make one that's reliable. So, well, you know, the reason why the jig wasn't working is because these are so thin, they move around, and then let's see if I can pick up one of the test pieces that I've done. There they are. Like, stuff just doesn't line up properly. There's so much variables and stuff, like they just don't sink in together, so they don't work. So I'd need to have a wider dado stack, a more solid setup to be able to get repeatable results. I can't do that with what I've got. So I'm having to do this all by hand. What I've done is I've masked off everything, done little 1 centimeter cuts all the way down. I've marked off the areas that I'm going to be removing. I've currently taped these two together so that can be more repeatable. But for now, we're just going to have to do it all by eye, use our hands, and I don't know, try to do some real woodworking rather than making jigs. So I've marked off where I'm meant to be taking material off. So we're just going to go ahead and do it, and fingers crossed we don't mess this up because we've only got one shot at it. So let's go. Actually, no, I need to set the blade height first. God, that was close. Set the blade height. The blade height needs to be the same or a little bit taller than the piece of wood you plan on cutting. I'm going to do it just barely, so I can barely feel it on the top, so I have that little nubbin to sand off. So, because if I have slightly more, I can sand it away. If I have slightly less, it's harder, you know, it's going to be a lot more sanding. So if I just do it slightly, like ever so slightly, just above the blade to where I can catch the blade while doing that, then that's going to be the right height for me, I think. That's completely theory. I have no idea in practice if that's what you're meant to do, but in my head, that seems to make the most sense. So let's start just taking material off. I'm going to line it up. All right, and we'll just start removing material. All right, let me take all this apart, and let's hope that, you know, I've managed to do it, everything's good. This is my first ever box joint, so don't be expecting beauty and precision. Tried my best. I've literally spent like maybe like an hour or two trying to figure out a jig and trying to make a jig, but I couldn't make it. Or at least I couldn't make it reliable with the tools I have, so I'm having to do this all by hand. So sorry, Grandad, if this isn't the best of my work, but just know I've tried. Let's get rid of all this masking tape. I like to use masking tape because it's clearer to see than marks on a wood. I don't want to mistake like a little scratch I made for something else and ruin everything. Right, let's get these pried apart. Let's do a dry fit and see if everything fits. All right, so let's get to making these match up. Which side? This over here, this needs a little bit taken off. Maybe slightly on this side as well. Right, so let's get our chisel. Where is my chisel? I literally had it before. So let's take a little slice off of this. Want to remove barely anything every time. So there's a little shaving with that fit in there now. Almost. Take a little bit off this side. Never point a chisel at yourself, by the way, so I'm not going to do that. Take a little bit off this side. Will you two slide in now? I still want this to be a really, really tight fit, but what I don't want is it to be too tight for it to start cracking and breaking. When I say shavings, I mean minuscule. We want to take our time, slowly and slowly, ever so slowly, get up to where we want to be. Because if not, we're going to end up with a bunch of gaps. And I want this to be a good box joint, because this is my first ever box joint. Don't get me wrong, this ain't like dovetails. I've done dovetail joints before. I've never done a brilliant dovetail joint, as you've seen on the channel. But it looks like we're heading home there. So I think I should be able to knock all these in. There we go. There's a few little gaps here and there. That part's getting pushed up, I think. So maybe we need to cut this down a little bit here, so that part doesn't get lifted up. As you can see, it goes together, and we can tap these in place. I'll show you why I wanted to make sure that I cut these a little bit longer, because as you can see, the little nubbins, they come out, they protrude a little. Oops, sorry, I'm headbutting my camera. They come out and protrude slightly, so they're easy enough to sand off, instead of if we accidentally cut them too small and then we had to, you know, somehow fill in the gaps. But I'm happy with that. That's good. It's obviously not perfect. This is my first ever box joint, but I think it looks good. And, you know, we're about to get some wood glue and filler and really clean them lines up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to label this A and A, so I know these two mate up, because we might do the same for this side and try use this one, but then this would only fit this and might not fit that. So we're going to go around each side and label it up. So off camera, I'm going to do the rest of them. This side's going to be B. I'm going to make sure that this side comes up nicely as well, and then so on and so forth. So I'll come back to you when everything is fitting up. All right, so I got everything cleaned up. Some of it's a tight fit, and there are going to be some gaps, which is annoying, but hopefully we can come back at the end with some wood glue and sawdust and make those gaps a little less noticeable. What I have done is I've sanded up the insides, and I've put a bunch of tape around. That's going to make it easier for when we take the box apart. We don't have to clean up and try sanding the inside, and we can just peel the tape off and not get the glue squeeze out. I've cut out where the lids will be going and stuff like that on all of them. And also, talking about lids, I found this bit of oak instead, so I decided to use this for the lid. I think it'll look a lot nicer. I'll put my little logo, and maybe I might have a laser engraver soon. If it comes quick enough, I might try and engrave a little message there for him as well. But I think this is going to be a nice lid. So got the lid, got the bottom, everything's taped up. All we need to do now, start gluing it up. My first time gluing up a sort of box joint thing, so hopefully it doesn't go too badly. I feel like I'm going to make a big mess. So sleeves up, and let's get cracked on. All right, so that is glued up to the best of my ability. I'm a little bit torn right now because I want to leave it in the clamps to make sure that it, you know, obviously does its thing, but we also need to cut the lid out, and I want to clean up all the glue on the inside before it all dries. So I don't know if I want to do the best of both worlds. Maybe I'll wait half an hour or so. It's quite a cold day today, so it's not going to dry too quickly. Wait half an hour or so. Hopefully everything in the joints will be dry-ish, or like tacky enough to not pull apart. and the built up like blodges of it on the inside will still be easier to tape out and stuff. I do want to sand this as one unit as well, so I think I'll sand it first, then cut the lid out and hopefully get everything on the inside. So I'll come back in half an hour or so, hopefully it's dry enough on the inside. Right, so I've messed up big time. This lid isn't seated properly and I accidentally pushed the back in a little bit while it was drying, so I don't have time to let this dry anymore or else it will dry horribly. I quickly went round and sanded the outside. We do have quite a lot of gappage in some areas, like here and here. Around the front we are all good, as you can see, no gaps there. On the sides we are pretty decent, but you know, that's a bit shabby, so we're gonna have to try and fill and sand that. But I can't with good conscience let this dry now because it's all twisted and warped. I know I should have put a rebate in and set the lid in properly and stuff, but I didn't quite know how to do it. The geometry and how to cut things was messing with my head and stuff, and I didn't know how to do it without blowing out of the back and having weird little notches here, so I thought I'd just set the lid like this. It didn't go right. I need to hurry up and quickly get this lid off so I can push these back into place, maybe even pop them out and do something with them. I might need to just chuck 1 or 2 nails in and try sink the heads and fill them in as well. But I'm going to quit talking. We're going to get this lid off. Well, what we've done here, we've raised the blade to the width of the walls on here. And what we're going to do is just go around like this and cut it all out. And then we'll have the lid. Apart from this, we can clean the inside. We can get these sitting flat again. So I'm going to quit talking. I'm just going to hurry up and do it. There we go. I think it's only the tape in here that's holding it on now. There we go. We popped it off. Now we can try push this lid back to being flat. There we go. That's the lid sitting flat on there now. What about this? Gonna push this back down. Oh God, don't drop it, you idiot. All right. So the lid's pretty loose in there. What's the best course of action? I think I might just pull the tape off, let everything completely dry, and I'm just gonna have to fill and sand it. I don't think there's anything else I can do. So guys, it's the next day. We've got everything sanded up. I'm really disappointed with the amount of gappage that's going around. I'll show you some of the worser box joints. This is the good side. This is the side that I'm happy with and looks nice, and I'm going to make this the front. This is all the gaps and stuff that I filled in with wood glue and sawdust, and for some reason the wood glue and sawdust, it turned black instead of this colour, which is really frustrating. Recently switched to a different brand of clear drying glue. I think this might be the culprit. I'll go back to my old stuff. The old stuff was very expensive when it came in a tiny bottle. The brown bottle, I forgot what it's called, but you've seen it on the channel before. That stuff worked really well for me. This has really disappointed me. And I really wanted this box to turn out really well because my granddad's one of my top supporters, and he always tells me how proud he is and what I've done. So I really wanted this to be something special and really nice, and I feel like I've disappointed myself here and failed. But either way, we're pushing through. The box overall isn't terrible. You know, it looks nice. I haven't gotten the hardware for it yet. That's in the post. It should be coming today, later on. So what we're going to do now while we wait for it is just quickly oil it all up and see what it looks like. Then we can add the hardware, and I'll put my logo there in a little bit. So quickly get some of our hard wax oil. Let's start splashing it on and get a rag. here's how the box is looking. Obviously, when we get the hardware on, it's going to be a bit nicer. Yeah, got it sliding around everywhere. It's still a bit oily. But yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get my heat gun, not my heat gun, what's it called? My branding iron, start heating that up, and I'm going to start marking out where this is going to go. I want the center of it to be in the center of this line here, somewhere around here. To be honest, I should have done this before oiling it because all my masking tape won't stick to it now, so I'm going to have to mark it out with a pencil and then come back with a rubber. But I'll get it all marked out. I'll come back to you when we are stamping it. Alright, I don't know if it shows well on camera, but I've marked it out where it's meant to be going. I've got my branding iron. Let's find the little mark. There we go. Now I need to line everything up without getting lost in my shadow. We're going to let it burn for a little bit. Let's have a look. Ah, perfect. There we go. I can turn the branding iron off now. And I shouldn't have done this when before I stained it and stuff, because I'm going to have to go back over it now to sand it, to clean it up a bit, make it really pop. There we go. Now we can whack some oil on there. Where's my other rag? Surely there's enough residual oil on here. There we go. Put it back on there. Now we have a Barrovain Made stamp on there. So now we just got to wait for the hardware to show up. Oop, just got to wait for the hardware to show up, and we'll finish this box off. So after a few days, my new hinges and stuff have arrived. I got the little clothespin ones, nice little brass hinges for this lovely oak box. I think it will complement it very well. So let's put the hinges on. This I want to be the front because there is less, oh, wobbly camera. There is less gappage compared to this ugly mess. So let's focus on putting the hinges on first. I'm going to fold that lid back. Let's get out the hinges and stuff. Spread them all there. Let me get an appropriate screwdriver. There we go. And what we are going to do is I need a measuring tape. And yes, I have finally found my measuring tape. I lost it for ages. Let me get a pencil as well. Sorry, I should have set up better before doing this. If you can't tell, guys, I'm a little bit rushed. I got in from work and now I'm here because I realized that by the time I get my next day off, I'm going to run out of videos, and obviously in a Christmas calendar where I'm doing a video every day up until Christmas, that's not good. So just came off an 8-hour shift, driving half an hour each way, and I'm here making a video for you guys. So hope you guys are appreciative because I'm bloody knackered and I want to lay down. But we'll get this finished. I've got a few other videos to film after this as well, and hopefully we had the videos ready for when this comes out. But I'm going to shut up and carry on putting these on and get these nice brass screws out. These look a little bit longer. They're going to poke through. Nah, with the hinges there, they're not going to poke through. That's good. Right, let's open these hinges up. God, these are small hinges. I wanted small hinges, but this is really small. Right, so what I'm going to do to make sure that the hinges are on the exact same, I'm going to fold it over at a 90-degree angle, make a little center mark. Actually, I'll make a little center mark with this. Give it a little pokey. And a little pokey. Right. Got this, because these are brass screws, these aren't going to be magnetic, are they? Oh, they must be brass coated. That's good. Saves me having to stumble around. Alright, let's get these screws on. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Look at that. Oh my God, that's not what I need. Right. I'm not using those screws. Oh, that's so annoying. Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Oh. Tell you what, guys. I'm going to put the hinges on off camera. I'm going to calm down. I'll get back to you. The box is finally finished. It's finally done. It opens. Boom. And it closes. If you ever see these style of hinges on Amazon, stay far away. Oh my God, the screws were so annoying to put in. They just kept stripping. I tried it with a drill going fast, tried it with a drill going slowly. I tried putting them in by hand. It was a headache. I pre-drilled the holes and everything. They just kept stripping. And one thing that's really annoying about this box is I put the logo on the wrong way around for when you're meant to open this. So, I mean, for the person that's opening it on the other side, it says the logo and stuff. But super annoying. My granddad's a really big supporter. And he loves what I do, and he always tells me how proud he is of me. So I really wanted to give him a quality product. This box, don't get me wrong, it looks nice, and it's somewhere he can put his tools. It's better than a plastic tray that he currently uses, but I really wanted to give him something special. So, Grandad, if you're watching this, I really tried, but from a series of, events, it didn't come out perfect. So I'm really sorry, Grandad, but here you go. Merry Christmas.